My name is Marissa Guarriello, and I'm an assistant professor of music and human learning, as well as the director of String Project.
Well, welcome. One full year down here in Austin.
Yes, it's been super exciting.
Yeah, have you enjoyed being here in Austin?
I absolutely love Austin. I was a little afraid of moving to Texas, but Austin has been very welcoming, and there's just so much to do, so it's been a joy.
Yeah, the heat hasn't scared you off?
Gosh, not yet. Some days I think maybe this wasn't the choice, but no, it's been great.
Great. So what was your first impression? So you've done this a whole year, right? The first year you
Yes.
didn't make a whole lot of changes. You were just kind of observing and keeping the machine going with String Project. But what were some of your first impressions this last year?
Yeah, so String Project is and always has been kind of like this monolith, not just here at UT Austin, but really throughout the String Project community and the string education community. So to have the opportunity to step into this role has been amazing. However, that, it came with a huge learning curve. I kind of described it to everyone as drinking from a fire hose. There was just so much information to learn and so many people to learn about and so many systems. It's kind of like running a school within a school. So if you can think about all of the different things that go into running your normal K-12 school, it's kind of like doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing the scope. I mean, you might have more String Project students than most like K through 12 schools. I mean, it's just unbelievable how many students, and you're very well qualified for it, but still it's just so much in scope because there's so many moving parts. So what's a little bit about your background though before you got here to String Project?
Sure. So I was a K-12 public school teacher. I graduated from Penn State and went right into the public schools. My first job actually was in the Houston area, and I ended up moving back up north to where I'm from. And
was it the humidity?
It was maybe a little bit the humidity. But no, I taught in public schools for a bunch of years. And while I was there, I got my master's degree at the Eastman School of Music. And it was really great to have that experience because I was going to school at the same time that I was teaching. And so we would talk about all of these things and how to make our classrooms better, and I could integrate them into my classroom and try them out. And it was there that I kind of really fell in love with research, between doing it for my master's program. And then I've met a few mentors around that time as well that just really influenced my thinking about what I was doing in my classroom. It really encouraged me to consider a PhD. So after a couple years as a classroom teacher, where I was itinerant, I was teaching 3 through 12 the entire time, which I know down here in Texas is not so normal, but up north it is not abnormal to kind of cover that big wide swath.
So all the way from third grade through high school.
Yeah. So wide learning experience for me as a teacher as to what to do in those different settings. But ultimately, I decided to go back to school, get my PhD. I went to Indiana University, so working with just some of the most amazing string educators in the country, Brenda Brenner, Mimi Zweig, as well as their fantastic string community, including Maggie Olivo. And out there, they also had a string project program. It's called the Fairview Violin Project, which there's actually a movie made about it. So I got to work in those programs and see what was going on. And while I was there, I really also cultivated a sense of who I wanted to be as a researcher. I became really deeply interested in creativity and the psychology behind that and how that influences what we're doing in our classrooms. But probably more than that, I was really interested in how to integrate it primarily in secondary classrooms where we're doing a lot of reproduction work, right? Like all of our orchestras are the greatest cover bands. And so I really wanted to learn more about how to get our students not just recreating, but also creating their own music. And that's really coming from a place of literacy as well, right? If we think about how we teach students to read, write, and talk. First, they start talking and we read them books and they read back to us. And then eventually we teach them to write sentences and paragraphs and express their own thoughts. In music, we're teaching our students how to listen and eventually how to talk, right? Reproduce and read. But we never really teach our students how to write. And so that was always a very kind of interesting twist to me as how we treat music education in general across the country. And so that's really at the core of my research. And also at this time, I got involved in the music industry. So I was a talent buyer and a venue promoter for the largest free music festival in the country, as well as their other year-long venues. And it's at that time that I also realized, like, wow, there's this whole other aspect to music that is just not really in music school. And so that seeped its way into my research as well. And I'm passionate about educating music teachers about the music business so that they can give their tools to their students and potentially find a career path in music for students who might not want to perform or teach.
I know a lot of people are really excited because you're going to be doing some big changes this coming year. And as a former string project parent, I totally approve of the changes. It seems like you're going to eliminate the biggest headaches for parents. So let's talk about some of these changes that are going to be happening this fall.
The biggest change is that we are switching from Saturday mornings in a 3-hour block to a weeknight format where we're spread across 4 different weeknights, as well as we're keeping our littles, our early childhood and our stepping stone classes. They're staying on Saturdays because...
And these are like 3-4-year-olds?
It's ages 0 to between 3 and 4.
Okay.
So yeah, our littlest students, they don't learn super great at 7 p.m., right?
Yeah.
So we decided to keep them on Saturdays, but UT Elementary has been very gracious in working with us, and they're actually giving us their music classroom so that we can move them off of campus. And all of this really is stemming from a safety and security concern from our football games and our parking and the traffic and the headaches that come with that.
Yeah, safety, security, and just unbelievable hassle.
Yeah. I mean, the parents that were showing up on Saturdays, especially during home football games, were... putting up a great fight or waking up super early. But even once they were on campus and in the building, we are situated so close to the football stadium that we were also inundated with fans who maybe weren't supposed to be in the building and
maybe consume some alcohol.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. But we're really excited because as we move to this weekday format, one of the things from a pedagogical side that we'll be able to address is that our teachers are also students, right? And they're very busy and they're very high achieving, which means there's a lot of opportunity out in the world to them. And by capitalizing on their Saturday mornings, they actually had to turn down a lot of opportunities, whether it was gigging or competitions or traveling, because we needed them here, right? We were activating all of our teachers all at once. And now that we're spread across several nights, first of all, the students aren't as busy during the weeknights. Of course, there will always be conflicts, but we can find teachers to slot in and still give students a really great experience during those classes as well, instead of being down teachers and substituting in places where it doesn't make sense. So in general, we're really optimistic that it will actually be a better experience for the students as well. The other big change is that we kind of had Saturdays broken up into 3 blocks. 1 hour for ensembles, and 1 hour was for theory, and 1 hour was like a sectional, essentially. We've changed the timing of the classes, and we've integrated that written theory piece into class so that they're still going to be getting theory and they're still going to be getting sectionals, but it will all be integrated and embodied. So another kind of behind the scene change we made is that I have now 5 teacher trainers. So these are graduate students who have led successful classroom careers in orchestra. They're primarily PhD students in our music and human learning program. They are like a team of assistants when it comes to the pedagogy. In general, when we think about integrating this theory, though, we're going back to this idea that it's going to be embodied. So as we discuss concepts and learn about them, we're actually going to put them on our instrument. We're going to see how they're used. We're going to see how people use them in real life, in real music, so that it's not just something that it's not a right answer on a piece of paper, but it's like, oh, I know this and now I can use it to do X, Y, and Z. So kind of going back to that literacy piece that I was talking about in my background, we don't want students to just know a fact. We want them to be able to apply it in a way as well.
Yeah, I remember that, like, for those who aren't familiar, like those theory classes, like you wouldn't even bring your instruments.
Right.
Like I remember like holding my daughter's like violins
Yes.
as they were in the class. So
Yeah.
this team of 5, right?
Yes.
So this is like, will they be directly teaching the classes, or will they be kind of supervising, filling in? How does that work?
Yeah, they're doing both actually. So they are folks who have been with String Project in the past already. None of them wanted to give up their teaching duties, so they will be some of our regular teachers. But then they're also assigned to specific ensembles where they go on a weekly basis and watch their younger peers teach, and they'll help them prep lesson plans. They'll give feedback and kind of create a more cohesive arc to their teaching, so that as a teacher training program, we are giving our teachers as much support as we can afford, right? In addition to me rotating in and out of those classes and giving them another perspective, we're going to have, these boots on the ground teacher trainers so that they're getting consistent feedback and hopefully really being able to see some jumps in their teaching throughout the semester instead of just like holding on tight and hoping that the kids learn the music by the concert.
Yeah, one thing that was amazing as a parent, just experiencing the String Project for a number of years, is like you think of like, okay, well, these are students wanting to become teachers, but in reality, that's not the case. A lot of them are like veteran teachers who have decided after many, many years in the classroom to go back to graduate school, and even those undergraduate teachers that like they have no experience, they start out as like assistant teachers, right? And then they kind of move up after several. So everyone who's actually leading a class has a lot of experience doing that. So how do you recruit these teachers? Is there a science to it, or is it an art? Or
as students are applying and auditioning, I'm integrated into those processes. I'm looking at students' backgrounds. So this is incoming freshmen or incoming graduate students, and saying, they would be really good. I'm going to keep an eye on them if they accept UT. But beyond that, I talk to a lot of my colleagues. I talk to a lot of our students, and I think about, who would be good in this role. We're missing a XYZ teacher. I'm going to reach out to the studio and see if they have anyone who might be good for this role. It's something we want to give to our students. It's an opportunity we want to give to our students because a lot of the students here have aspirations to be performers in an orchestra or have a private studio or be in a quartet or whatever. But the truth is, when they leave Butler, they're probably going to teach, whether it's...
They're all going to teach.
They're all going
to teach. Even if you become the absolute superstar, you're still going to be required to give master classes. You're still going to... You will for sure teach.
Exactly. So if we can provide them some support while they're here, while they're getting paid, while they have people around them who can show them more tools for their toolbox, we want to do that. So our door's really always open. And as long as the students are willing to show up and be committed, we're here to teach you how to teach. You don't need to show up necessarily with teaching experience. So I think having that open door policy also helps us attract students who want that experience and want that support in their teaching.
Yeah, it's such a resource here at UT for the community, but also for incoming students, because we do a lot of I interview a lot of alumni, right? And there's no kind of rhyme or reason why some alumni are successful, right? They're like all different backgrounds when they started their instruments, different types of instruments, but there does seem to be not everybody, but a lot of them were involved with String Project. Yeah. Even if they don't go into teaching, right? They benefited from that, just the learning of it. So it's just incredible the amount of alumni we have that are really successful who went through String Project. So for any a student thinking about coming to UT, right, and they're thinking about, well, maybe this is something I want to get involved with, or for a parent of a young child who's thinking maybe this is something I want to apply for, can you just kind of lay out the whole scope of String Project? Because it's massive, right? And there's lots of unique names, cadets, and right, Yes,
so I'll go in chronological order. Great. Our youngest classes are our early childhood education, and then they move into stepping stone classes. Those are for students as young as a couple of months all the way through about age 4. And that's really a general music class or a music play class to get them integrated in listening to music and steady beat and being in a classroom setting and just kind of establishing some baseline things for a healthy music trajectory.
Get ready to sit on the floor. A lot.
Yes.
Yes.
A lot of sitting on the floor. And if you're a parent, be ready to sit on the floor as well.
It's a lot of fun though, because
yeah.
it's there is a reason. Like all that music you learn there comes back,
Yes.
when they get older. So yes, yeah, it's not just a play class. They're learning a lot. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So so as they're entering kind of the kindergarten years, where do they go from there?
So at age 5, around kindergarten there, they can join our junior cadets, which are our violins or cellos, and they just get started there. After that, we're going to our beginning ensembles. So we're staying in homogeneous groups, and it's violin, viola, cello, bass at that point. And we're continuing to learn our instrument technique on an elevated level. It's also where we're going to start introducing our basic songs. So our Suzuki Book 1, our Twinkle patterns, and kind of getting them up and running from there. After that, we have a prelude orchestra, which is...
So what age is this about?
It depends, because we have promotional juries. So it really is up to the student. When the student has kind of completed a checklist of items that says, I've learned everything I need to learn in beginning ensembles, they can come in and they play. It's like a mini audition. And we say, yes, we can confirm this has happened. And then they move to the next ensemble.
Gotcha.
In theory, it's early elementary if they're with us from the beginning. But if a student joins us from maybe having some experience outside of the program, they can audition into the ensembles as well. So yeah, after beginning ensembles, then we move into a heterogeneous setting. That's where we have our prelude orchestra. And that's our very first, we're learning how to play in an ensemble. We're playing very basic songs together. We're learning all about how to play.
That's where the magic happens, where like kids first hear it like all together and they're like, wow. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And it's so neat. It's our biggest ensemble as we look towards this year. So I think it'll be really exciting for the students. After that, we have our overture orchestra, that's where our real kind of like 5th and 6th grade students might be. We're starting to play some more legitimate rep. We have different parts. We have our standard orchestra responsibilities. It's when you kind of go from like, this is a fun activity to, okay, we're going to start making music and focusing more on how to make music, not just play the notes on the page. After that, we have concert orchestra, which is like an intermediate, and then Sinfonia, which is our top level chamber orchestra. So kind of the rep is just getting harder and you're getting more involved in that musicality aspect of it. There's 2 new additions, though, to the program. One is called Foundations Orchestra, and that was established as this idea that students can enter string project at an older age without having gone through all of these levels. So in the public schools here in Texas anyway, you can start an instrument at 6th grade. And so when we start in string project at age 5, right, that gives all of these kids a running start.
Yeah.
Which is great. But if a student in 6th grade joins orchestra and falls in love with it and they want to do more with it, we wanted to give them that outlet. So the Foundations Orchestra is for any beginner at these older ages. So it can be a high school student who realized they had an extra block and they want to get back into playing and want an ensemble format. It can be a 6th grader who wants to supplement what they're learning in school. And we have one of our most fabulous teachers running that ensemble this year so that it's this learning experience, but then also they'll be able to just move a little bit faster than like our beginning ensembles and still be able to play some rep. And then the other option is on the other end of the spectrum for our most advanced students. One of the things we were running into in the past was that students were getting to age 14 or 15 and they were kind of aging out of our ensembles already. It was just a little too easy for them to still be in these larger ensembles. So we started chamber ensembles, and we have some really dedicated teachers, DMA students who just kind of live for chamber music.
Oh, wow.
And so if a student wants to have a little bit more tailored of an experience, we can place them into a chamber ensemble. They might be playing with, our Butler School College students, they might be paired with another student of a similar level. But for example, this year we have a talented cellist. She's coming in, she's paired with some Butler students, and it looks like they're going to be doing a piano trio of some kind.
That's incredible. What an experience.
Yeah.
For that cellist. Right.
Yeah. So we're trying to tackle some of the gaps on both ends there so that it really is an accessible and all-inclusive program, and you can come in at any stage and still gain something from the program. And to that end, our teachers also get an experience of working with people of all ages, of all experiences, and still figuring out how to offer them something that they might not already have. So that's the program. It's big. It's
huge, yeah.
Yeah, and we do all kinds of events during the year and stuff as well. We bring in guests. We do a fall festival. In the past, we've done Play Down. We're cooking up some new stuff for this year. If you are looking at the Butler School of Music as you're coming here to study, whether you're a graduate student or an undergrad, getting involved with String Project, I think, is one of the best things you can do. It provides you with a sense of community. I feel like all of our teachers are good friends, and they like to be around each other, and it's just really positive. So that's kind of the first thing. It's great teaching experience. So whether you're a string person or not, I mean, you can work with our general music, early childhood classes if you want, or you can say, I have a little bit of experience on these instruments. We'll say, that's okay. We'll train you on how to teach them as well. So, I mean, just great teaching experience, really, no matter what you do.
Yeah, because a lot of times, you'll never get another chance to maybe teach little kids or just in different age groups. And it was amazing when my kids were in it. It was you would see a undergraduate who's a freshman, and they would be the assistant teacher.
Yes.
And they would get 5 minutes during one class to try to teach, and it was rough.
Yes.
And then 4 years later, they would be in charge of a class and just commanding the class, and they felt like a veteran teacher. They were just incredible. Just the growth was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe it.
And I think maybe it's not shocking, but it feels really nice. I have gotten so many emails throughout the school year from local teachers or from teachers around the state of Texas that are saying, we have this opening. Do you have a student? We're reaching out to you because we know your students are prepared. We know that String Project helps them, or, whatever it may be. And so it definitely, being a part of String Project, carries some weight out in the real world as well. So
a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Especially if you're interested in the Texas,
Yes.
Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Austin area.
Yeah.
If that's where you want to end up, it's almost all the weights, right? So So I don't know if you want to go to Pennsylvania or somewhere but it is it is nationally recognized, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, before I got here, I knew quite a bit about the program, as many people do. But no, the National String Project Consortium is a national organization, and UT is one of the leaders in that program for sure. So a lot of people, especially at other string project sites around the country, use UT as a model. So, but then I wanted to also answer your question about if you're a parent or a community member as well.
Yeah. Let's get into that.
So, I mean, again, big, giant program. It can feel really overwhelming. I think just showing up is right. That's your number one piece of advice to being successful. The program is really good at tailoring needs to our students. So we have students with all different backgrounds, all different wants and needs in the program. Some students may be really interested in a certain kind of music, or they might have some kind of learning difference, and that's all real life. That's all things that we encounter in studio teaching or in classroom settings. And so if you show up every week and you put the time in that you need to, both on campus and at home, your student is going to be successful, because we'll make sure that we're doing everything in our power to see that.
Oh, absolutely. And that you really bend over backwards to make sure everyone feels welcome and truly feels welcome and part of the community. I remember my daughter was in a class, and the boy next to her was blind.
Yeah.
And the teachers did such a great job that halfway through the year, my daughter and I were talking afterwards, and I mentioned that boy, and she's like, "Oh, he's blind? I didn't know that." Like she didn't even notice. The teachers did such a good job of integrating him and just making sure he felt welcome and just like she didn't even notice. And she was literally right next to him.
Yeah.
So just incredible. So let's just, parents are always worried about logistics, right? Because it is such a logistical mess. As a parent myself, I totally get it. Yeah. So let's talk about just the logistics of like, can you just talk me through like a sample of what it would look like if you, let's say you had a first grader or a second grader, like in the junior cadets, what would that look like just logistically?
Sure. So, you would receive a schedule essentially from Rebecca, our assistant, and she would tell you, here are the days that you're meeting. In this case, our cadets are on Monday evenings. Okay. They meet a little bit earlier than our other ensembles because they're younger. So
as a parent, thank you.
Yeah, sure. It was, we were trying to balance it between combating traffic and getting the kids out of school and all of that versus, when their bedtime is. But for cadets, they start a little bit earlier in the afternoon, early evening.
So Monday they would come and that's when like that ensemble/theory class would be?
Yep. And they're meeting for about an hour. We've also gone to the length that we have asked our transportation services to help us out with parking passes so that we can start our string project parents who have a parking pass for campus at 4:30 instead of 5 so that they can get here and not get ticketed.
Okay, wonderful. That's a huge feat.
Yes. It's amazing.
You might have accomplished more than any previous string project director before you.
Not
That's
me. I'll
unbelievable.
give that one to Rebecca and Paige because,
right.
Amazing. But yeah, so anyway, you're going to find your parking close to the music building. You're going to come in. There's a classroom that you're assigned to. It's generally on the 4th floor.
Does it change every week or does it?
It doesn't change every week. You're reporting to the same.
So that's a nice change too.
Yes.
And those white pages that were everywhere and everyone's crowded around.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say that it will always be that way. But yeah, in general, like we're not fighting auditions. The marching band isn't also in the building using some rooms right. So hopefully it should be kind of like we're integrated to the class schedule where you can just show up every night. And at that point, your teachers are going to greet you. We have multiple teachers as for every class assigned to teach a class so that there's always hands-on support. Generally, it's a lead teacher leading an activity and the other teachers in the room roaming around, helping your student, making sure they're doing what they need to do. As a parent, especially when they're younger, being integrated into that classroom experience is not just requested, but recommended. We want you to be with your student, learning along with them, not necessarily like with an instrument in hand, but learning along with them so that you can essentially guide them at home through their practice as well. And when your class is done, our teachers, they'll make sure everyone gets packed up and safe and back out the door. I will say our younger classes, they're a little bit shorter. They're a little bit simpler. For our older students, they will, same thing. Come in, enter the building, all of that good stuff. But they will have a break. They might have sectionals where they break out at certain points and work with different teachers. They will have the opportunity, I believe on Wednesday nights, we're going to bring pizza in so that if the students are coming right from school, that they can have 5 minutes to get some dinner in their stomach.
And when does the private one-on-one classes happen? So
our teachers already have their lists, actually. They've been assigned their studios over the summer, and then they reach out to families and they figure out a time that works for them.
Oh, wow, okay.
So it can be during the week. It can be before or after rehearsal. It could also be on the weekend if that's the route you wanted to go.
Great. And then, so my last question is, this is the one we get a lot, is that like, I have a kindergartner or first grader who I really want to be involved with music, and I apply to String Project and I get put on the wait list, right? Yeah. And often, there's so many more people that want to be part of String Project that can be. Yeah. So what tips would you have for someone who is put on that wait list, right? Because it doesn't mean they can never be in the String Project, and it doesn't mean their kid can't start playing an instruments, right?
Yeah.
What advice would you have for that parent?
I'll share that our wait list is much larger for our younger students, our early childhood classes, and our cadets. So we do get to move through those, and we actually, with the move to UT Elementary, could make our classes larger because we have more room at UT Elementary.
Oh, wonderful! Yeah.
Yeah,
you're not in the dance rooms, like those small dance rooms anymore. Yeah.
So we do move through those wait lists, and we will do our best to get to you. However, with the addition of our Foundations Orchestra, we can accept older students at different times. So if you are someone who maybe a few years ago you were on the wait list and you couldn't get in, and now your child is playing or wants to play, we have this opportunity for you to enter at a later date. Our older ensembles tend to be smaller because as kids get older, they are involved and interested in other things. And so we see that decline. However, that also means that there's more room for students at that age. So if you are interested and you weren't able to get in previously, please come back and join us. And to that point, if you are looking to have your younger child put into one of these classes, please join the wait list. And if something happens, we move through those lists as best we can.
Now, I know when we joined, the reason we got in, because it used to be that you could bypass the wait list. I don't know if this is still the case because we had a private teacher. So I wonder if is that still an option where someone can have a teacher, not a one-on-one teacher, not in the string project that's outside?
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. If you have a private teacher, you're what we would call an ensemble only student. You're getting your private instruction at school or at their studio or whatever. And so it's actually a lot easier for us to integrate you into the ensemble because we don't also have to find the time and the person to do a private lesson. So if you're someone who wants lessons in an ensemble, that's where the wait list gets a little bit longer, because as much as we would love to have all the teachers, take up all of their time to teach our community students, we can't have that, right? They're students as well. They have responsibilities that they need to take care of. And so, if you want to just be in our ensembles, please reach out to us and let us know, because we can almost definitely accommodate that.
Yeah, I know for our family, there was no stigma that we didn't have one of those one-on-one teachers.
Yeah.
Because for us, we just wanted to have lessons during the summer, right? We want to have lessons during the winter, and these students go home, right? There's no lessons. So, and they always treated us very, very well. So if they do have a private teacher,
yes,
is there a different application process, or is it the same application? Do you put something in there?
Yeah, it's the same application. There's just a different option. You would click ensemble only. We do ask for your private teacher information, because as you move kind of through these auditions, these promotional juries, we'll work with your teacher to make sure that you're on track to meet the goals that you want to meet as a student. Oftentimes our students are working with former string project teachers who have private studios out in the greater Austin community anyway. But no, there really is no difference. And frankly, it's not like the students know or anything like that, because they all take their private lessons at different times.
Great. And then the last thing is, so let's say you're in the string project, whether you have your own private teacher or you have a private teacher in the string project, and you're going through that. How do you set up your kids for success? What are, besides, I'm sure practicing, but what else is there?
Yeah. Gosh. At the younger ages, being the encouragement and the excitement that surrounds this activity, I think, is huge. Sticking with your child, coming to class, learning alongside them, also huge. But working with the teacher, and I say that meaning your private teacher and or your UT teacher and or me as the director, right? There's a couple different people. Keeping those lines of communication open so that we can figure out strategies that work for your specific child in their specific circumstances, I think, is huge. But otherwise, consistency at home, practicing, and just really celebrating all of the little things, right? It can be painful for a parent to sit through a rough version of Twinkle Twinkle for a couple months. But that is the first stepping stone to your Mozart and your Beethoven and all of your other things out there in the world. And so just celebrating those milestones. And I do also think if you stick with it for a long time, it is so fun to see, your high schooler, your child get up and play a solo or play an amazing orchestral piece. And, 15 minutes before them, you saw the junior cadets squeak away on Twinkle Twinkle, right? And you just see that trajectory. And I think as a parent, just being their number one fan the entire time it's huge. It makes all the difference.
Yeah, and one thing that string project does so well, because I've heard some bad from my kids versions of like Lightly Row.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
Like some really, really bad things. But one thing that's so great that string project does that I don't see a lot of other like just private teachers doing is that like you'll go to other like recitals of like little kids and there'll be some big train wrecks.
Sure.
And whereas it seems like for whatever reason with string projects, when those kids get on the stage and perform, it's always a confidence building,
Yes.
right? I just don't see those train wrecks. I don't see it crashing and burning. They always get through it. They always sound pretty good.
Yeah.
So it's a great thing. But how much would you recommend practicing?
I think it depends on the age and your goals. Of course, our younger students are going to have a shorter attention span, so we might want to do 10 or 15 minutes at a time. Maybe you do it in the morning and then at night, and you get a nice half hour. As they get older, I think it can be really good, and this can happen with the teacher or with a parent or wherever the student's comfortable doing it, but setting goals for the week. And so instead of saying you're going to practice for an hour or you're going to practice for 45 minutes or 2 hours or whatever, being a smart practicer is better. So having those goals and saying, I'm going to take the time that I need to take to hit this goal this week or that goal, or I really need to fix this spot in order to do X, Y, Z, right? So I think a lot of trap that even college students fall into is like, well, if I need to get better, I need to practice longer. I need to spend more hours, right? That's not necessarily the case, right? We want to be smart practicers. Bob Duke, one of our professors here at UT, I mean, his whole life, really, all of his research has been around good, smart practicing and also how to teach students to be smart practicers. And so all of our UT students have at least
been beaten into them.
Yeah. They have a little bit of a baseline, at least, of what that looks like. And they can help guide our string project students to be smart practicers, especially as they get older and they want to be in sports and be in clubs and activities. And they might not have multiple hours to dedicate to their instrument, but they still want to be a part of it. So, it depends, is my answer.
And then how do you pick instruments? Because you have bass, you have cello. You don't have viola, right?
We do,
Oh, viola, you have violin, and you have guitar?
Yes.
Am I missing anything, or is it those 5?
No, you got it, yeah.
All right, so how does one go about, how do you guide them? Is this something they come to?
Yeah, in general, we want people to play what they want. So we generally don't intervene unless we are asked to. If a student doesn't like what they're playing, regardless of whether or not it was the perfect fit for them, they're not going to stick with it because they don't like it. So some tips that I have: violinists are going to carry a lot of the melody. They get to kind of be out in front a lot more than, say, a viola player. Viola, you're like really supporting the orchestra. But I also have to say, if you don't know our viola professor, Wilhelm Magner, you have to go check out his social media, because he is like the most virtuosic viola player ever. And there's just a lot of good happening in viola land.
And viola, like if you love playing with other people, there's so many opportunities. Whereas like there's so much competition for violin.
Yes.
Whereas if you're a violist, like you're going to be able to just do so much more.
Yes.
In a less competitive environment.
Gigs galore.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You might have to put up with a few jokes, but
right.
you get to play a lot. Yeah.
Right. Cello, I think, is same thing. You have to be committed when we get to the larger instruments. Cello and bass, you need to have the car space. You need to be willing to lug it around. Cello, definitely easier to transport than the bass. But same thing. There's a lot of cello literature out there. More competitive, but I mean, just such a beautiful instrument. It's stunning. And then bass is really versatile. You can play it in orchestra, you can play it in jazz band, you can play it in concert band, you can do all kinds of different stuff with it. The flip side to that is what I just said, right? The commitment to the instrument itself, lugging it around, having the car space for it, all of that. And then guitar is, right, it's a completely different instrument. We do teach classical guitar here, so you're going to get that guitar ensemble experience as well as the solo experience. But if you think about all the different ways that guitar is used in the world, I mean, talk about gigs and opportunity for different genres and all of that, right? So I think when it comes to maybe orchestra versus guitar, think about what genres of music you want to be involved in. And then from there, we can trim down
Yeah.
where you're going.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, this has been wonderful, and good luck. We can't wait to see all these changes implemented, and I'm sure it's going to be a great year. So, and no home football games. So
yeah, yeah, no, we're very excited. So thank you so much for having me.